Now to get started painting this frosty makeup, we're going to use a template that comes with Spark. So over in Help, Open Welcome Screen, that'll just open this back up. And in the Learn tab, if we scroll to the bottom, at least right now, there's this Using a Face Mask Template article. So click that, and that'll open this page. And this includes a Photoshop document that has a bunch of layers set up with this kind of face paint texture already applied. So this will just give us a good template for where this face mesh is, where all the facial features are, and a few extra things inside. So let's download this. And to download it, it's this pink button here. This is in a zip, so just unzip it how you normally would. And I really don't love Photoshop, so I'm going to use Affinity Photo instead, but if you have Photoshop, that'll work just the same. Now let's take a quick look at all the layers that come with this. I'll disable everything at first and just go one at a time. We have our background, which is just a solid black or white. We have this face texture, going to be masculine or feminine. And it looks like there's a little bit of overlap, so I would only use one at a time. Don't necessarily keep these both activated. Then in facial features, we have this kind of face alpha that we often use in projects. We have eyes here, nose, and mouth. This at least gives you a general idea of where the facial features are. And this makeup layer has red, green, and blue layers for the lips, eyeshadow, and eyeliner. And this is a neat way to build it because in Spark, you can use patches to isolate these RG and B values and then add color based on that. So it's kind of like a mask in a way. In tracking, we have just these tracking points. So these are the points in Spark AI that get tracked. The wireframe, there's a black and a white version. And this should match exactly with the face mesh wireframe, the actual polygons of it. So if you want to paint really specifically on a certain polygon, this is a great reference. And then up top, we have this artwork that looks like it has the wireframe kind of baked in to give an example of how this all works. So in our case, let's disable everything and turn on the face texture. So in Affinity Photo, I'm going to switch over to the acrylics brushes and use a variety of these as I paint some of the frostier pieces of this makeup. And I'll speed up this video because I'm just going to be painting, erasing, and smudging pieces while I go. So there's not going to be a lot of new information, but you can at least watch my process and see how I paint this on. So let's just take a quick overview of what I painted on here. To start, I just made a frosty base. That was just to build up a little bit of this blue color. And then the eyebrows, I painted over the whole eyebrow shape, and then I individually painted these little hairs. And then for the lips, I did an outline kind of on the edge of the lips, and then drew some kind of contouring lines coming in and out of the lips. And on top of that, I used a kind of rough brush to add bits of actual frosty, like snow pieces. And to see the result better, I'm going to turn on this black background and then hide this face here. So now you can more easily see what's going on. We have some very vibrant eyebrows, some solid lips, and then lots of kind of texture throughout. And of course, it's hard to see what's going on in a 2D view, so let's export this and get it ready for Spark. So with all the other layers hidden except for these painted ones, I'll hit Control, Alt, Shift, and S to export. Make sure it's at 1024 square, and we'll compress this later, so this large file size won't be too much of a concern. We might as well compress this now, so I'll open up Crushy. Drag in this export, crush it, and see how much smaller it becomes. Okay, 228 kilobytes. And it still looks actually identical. Let's see if we turn the quality level down to 1. If we can squeeze out a few more bytes and not lose any definition. You can see the lips change a tiny bit, but it's pretty much imperceivable, so I'm going to save it as that. And it's usually a good idea to version up, so I'll right-click, Save As, and then save version 2 of this. Then we can drag it right into Spark. And you'll notice it starts compressing by this little circle here. So I'll disable compression. And now it's just a matter of making material and then applying it to a new face mesh. So I'll make that first. And we'll name this Frost Makeup. And we'll probably have to turn down or turn off some of this earlier makeup block stuff, but for now we'll see how they combine together. So on the Frost Makeup object, I'll add a material, rename it, and we'll start by trying face paint and see how that looks. So face paint looks okay, but I'm going to switch to flat and see if that just brightens everything up and makes it look nice still. Yeah, that way we know we're working with the full color value and kind of lightness values of that image. As you can see though, these eyelashes are all sorts of trouble. They're clipping through and they're blocking all of this. So we should be able to add some alpha testing to this. And of course, that's in this makeup block, so we have to dive in there real quick. In the eyelash matte, let's turn on alpha test. Just make sure that doesn't break anything. Now it looks like it's working, but we might need to turn it up because the alpha here is extending way beyond where the color stops. And that's a decent balance here. So I'll save that. Hop back over here. Now I think this looks pretty good, but the overall face color I think could use a little whiteness just to make it look more frosty. So let's add one more face mesh and call this face white. And then add a new material. And in the texture, let's add a face alpha. I'll use a soft one that I've built before. Now you can see the edges fade off nicely. Now I just need to turn this way, way down because we just want a little bit of white added to this. And that will do it for the makeup. And I don't have a lot of personal experience putting on makeup, so that's why some of the fundamental makeup theory isn't necessarily super advanced, but you can at least see where it's going and how you could build on top of this. And soon we'll add some icicles to this scene, so it'll even further integrate everything together. So in the end, we'll have a really nice kind of frosty look.